Ever since the Mega Man Zero tech guide dropped, that one video ushered my channel into a new era. I was no longer this nobody in his corner that people didn't know was there, so that guide helped pave the way for my channel, making me less of a nobody and more someone with a semblance of credibility to his name. So I'd like to take this brief moment before we get into the video for a very, very belated thank you. I should have said this earlier this year when my channel took off from below 1k subs to nearly 5,000. Here's to hoping from here on out I can continue to grow my community, despite my life outside this channel not leaving much room for frequent uploads. Anyway, let me get into why you clicked on the video. One of the most common grievances I've seen since the tech guide was born was one particular advanced tech that's been a new player's bane: reversals. Even to this day, I get comments that are absolutely flabbergasted yet confused as to how it works. The act of abusing active frames of a weapon attack animations was something I tried to simplify without getting too technical with the intricacies, something that was common theme of the video itself, so folks can further grasp the tech easier. Despite my best efforts, reversals still seem to be the primary tech that couldn't be fully grasped by new players. The extra information I provided in the Google document of the tech guide's video description also did nothing to alleviate this, provided it was actually read, so I was kinda at a loss. After a while, I just couldn't reply to the concerns anymore because at its core, reversals are a very simple concept, and I really didn't know how to make it more comprehensible. Let me replay a snippet from the tech guide to recap my initial explanation of the technique. Aerial attacks can net a second hit if you swing your saber, tap the D-pad away from the enemy, then tap back in very quick succession. This works because the saber animation and hitbox are still lingering, and enemies that aren't bosses lack iframes. Consider this a real boon in hard mode since you're restricted from charge attacks and triple slashes there. Still, this speeds up your gameplay no matter what mode you're on. I mean, what's more to say? I was told I should have used an on-screen input command or a hand cam, but how much more could you simplify 2 directional pad presses? That's literally all there is to it execution-wise. Of course, that's when it finally hit me. The technique itself is easy to comprehend. There's nothing more I can do about that, unless I result in treating my viewers like they're idiots, and I'm not going to do that. Truth of the matter is that while reversals are simple to understand, it's the act of making it practical that's causing concern. Players want immaculate execution of the technique, but that's just not something that's going to come to you as the player overnight. However, I'm getting ahead of myself. I figured something out that can help further ease players into the learning process because I'm trying to tell you right now. Practice. Practice. You won't get this immediately if your fingers lack dexterity naturally. And that's really the main problem here. I'm trying not to make this any more complicated than it needs to be, so I see no point in making some 15 to 20 minute long video showing you how to better tap left to right or vice versa. Still, let me show you an actual recording of my hands, since this is what some people wanted me to do. This still won't magically produce the fix of simplifying it more, but take a look anyway. When I said to tap quickly back and forth, I meant that quite literally. Take advantage of the fact that you can afford to be more lax with your thumbs in case they're either too thin or thick. Accidentally sliding your thumb on up or down within the alterations really won't affect your execution, so long as you're not near a ladder or anything that'll force the character to move up or down. Also, I must reiterate that you need to slash your saber or weapon before you start pressing directions. If you're not confident in your ability to time it well, and you're playing the game with little to no input lag, remember a simple trick and rhythm to it. Press the attack button, then immediately tap back and forth on the D-pad. Watch my fingers here again. Following this simple rhythm will help better grasp the timing to execute it proficiently. Let me tell you right now, if you're trying to do reversals with an analog or God forbid touchscreen on a cell phone, you might as well forget trying to do this consistently. These action-oriented games were originally designed around the D-pad, especially when you consider the Zero games were on the GBA and ZX on DS, which lacked analogs. So if you stick to the D-pad, trust me, a majority of your problems will be alleviated with most tech in these games. Mega Man Zero with an analog or touchscreen is just not the ideal experience, so trying to accommodate for a control scheme that's far from viable would just artificially create problems that shouldn't be there. That's not to say reversals are impossible with these control schemes, just that I personally can't help you there. I don't use the analog or play on my phone. You'd have to practice a ridiculous amount, more than necessary to get it down. Which leads to my next point. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to how well you've practiced in order to consistently succeed with the technique. Look, I've played these games for an unhealthy amount of time, so new tech will register to me quicker than most. But it's unfair of me to assume others will get it as quick as a veteran of the series would. As such, you just can't expect yourself to have perfect execution after a measly few hours of playing around with it. You need to play the game a lot. Any traditional platformer is designed to encourage their player to repeatedly play their game until they're good enough to finesse it. That adds replay value to the game, even if that revisiting does nothing but get you more accustomed to the battle systems, stages, and boss mechanics. Considering we live in an era where most games are designed to not cater to their player wanting to enjoy more than one or two campaigns, with exceptions here and there, please don't twist my words, it's common to get complacent with the fast-paced, game-hopping attitude if you're new to Mega Man games. These games, especially Mega Man Zero and ZX, require patience, practice, experimentation, and the ability to discern patterns and behaviors. When tech gets to zero levels of technical, you'll need to be diligent in your pursuit of mastery. Please, just practice the reversals extensively, and don't be discouraged if you're not getting them completely down after a few days or even weeks. Doing them well in practice is one thing, but actually pulling them off with consistency while pressured by the high-speed nature of stage traversal is a whole different ballgame. Practice, practice, practice. Please. If you don't want to put in the time or effort into getting better, then what's the point of even trying to get better in the first place? Athletes who play sports, they don't get on a professional level overnight or just a few days or weeks of playing. They have to practice for years, man. I'm not trying to compare Mega Man to sports, but it's basically the same concept. You will not get good at these games on a pro level if you don't take time to get better.